All right, so we're at chapter 46. Tereus. Tereus, a son of Ares, ruled over the Thracians, then occupying Phocian Dallas, though some say that he was king of Pygia in Margaris, and having acted as mediator in a boundary dispute for Pandion, king of Athens and father of the twins Boots and Erechtheus, married their sister Procene, who bore him a son Itius. B. Unfortunately, Tereus, enchanted by the voice of Procene's younger sister Philomelia, had fallen in love with her, and a year later, concealing Procene in a rustic cabin near his palace at Dalius, he reported her death to Pandion. Pandion, condoling with Tereus, generously offered him Philomelia in Procene's place and provided Athenian guards as her escort when she went to Dalius for the wedding. These guards Tereus murdered, and when Philomelia reached the palace, he had already forced her to lie with him. Procene soon heard the news, but as a measure of precaution, Tereus cut out her tongue and confined her to the slaves' quarters, where she could communicate with Philomelia only by weaving a secret message into the pattern of a bridal robe intended for her. This ran simply: Procene is among the slaves. C. Meanwhile, an oracle had warned Tereus that Itius would die by the hand of a blood relative, and suspecting his brother Dryas of a murderous plot to seize the throne, struck him down unexpectedly with an axe. The same day, Philomelia read the message woven into the robe. She hurried to the slaves' quarters, found one of the rooms bolted, broke down the door, and released Procene, who was chattering unintelligibly and running around in circles. Oh, to be revenged on Tereus, who pretended that you were dead and seduced me, wailed Philomelia, aghast. Procene, being tongueless, could not reply, but flew out and, seizing her son Idius, killed him, gutted him, and then boiled him in a copper cauldron for Tereus to eat on his return. D. When Tereus realized what flesh he had been tasting, he grasped the axe with which he had killed Dryas and pursued the sisters as they fled from the palace. He soon overtook them and was on the point of committing a double murder when the gods changed all three into birds. Procene became a swallow, Philomelia a nightingale, Tereus a hoopoe. And the Phocians say that no swallow dares nest in Dalius or its environs, and no nightingale sings for fear of Tereus. But the swallow, having no tongue, screams and flies around in circles, while the hoopoe flutters in pursuit of her, crying, "Pow, pow! Where, where?" Meanwhile, the nightingale retreats to Athens, where she mourns without cease for Itius, whose death she inadvertently caused, singing Itu, Itu. But some say that Tereus was turned into a hawk. Footers 1. This extravagant romance seems to have been invented to account for a series of Thraco-Pelasian wall paintings found by Phocian invaders. I think that's Phoenician, but I'm going to Phocian. Phocian invaders in a temple at Dalius, Shaggy, which illustrated different methods of prophecy in local use. 2. The cutting out of Procene's tongue misrepresents a scene showing a prophetess in a trance induced by the chewing of laurel leaves. Her face is contorted with ecstasy, not pain, and the tongue, which seems to have been cut out, is in fact a laurel leaf handed her by the priest who interprets her wild babblings. The weaving of the letters into the bridal robe misrepresents another scene. A priestess cast has cast a handful of oracular sticks on a white cloth in the Celtic fashion described by Tacitus, or the Scythian fashion described by Herodotus. They take the shape of letters which she is about to read. In the so-called eating of Itius by Taras, a willow priest is taking omens from the entrails of a child sacrificed for the benefit of a king. The scene of Taras and the oracle probably showed him asleep on a sheepskin in a temple receiving a dream revelation. The Greeks would not have mistaken this. That of Darius' murder probably showed an oak tree and priests taking omens beneath it. In Druidic fashion, by the way, a man fell when he died. Procene's transformation into a swallow will have been deduced from a scene that showed a priestess in a feathered robe taking orgores from the flight of a swallow. Philomelia's transformation into a nightingale and Terrace's into a hoopoe seem to result from similar misreadings. Terrace's name, which means watcher, suggests that a male augur figure in the hoopoe picture. 3. Two further scenes may be presumed: a serpent tailed oracular hero being offered blood sacrifices, and a young man consulting a bee oracle. These are respectively Aracathias and Boots, who was the most famous beekeeper of antiquity, the brothers of Procene and Philomelia. Their mother was Zexape, who yokes horses, doubtless a mare-headed Demeter. 4. All mythographers but Hyginus makes Procene a nightingale and Philomelia a swallow. This must be a clumsy attempt to rectify a slip made by some earlier poet that Tereus cut out Philomelia's tongue, not Procene's. The hoopoe is a royal bird because it has a crest of feathers and is particularly appropriate to the story of Terrace because its nests are notorious for their stench. According to the Quran, the hoopoe told Solomon prophetic secrets. 5. Dalius afterwards called Phocis seems to have been the center of a bird cult. Phocis, the eponymous founder of the new state, was called the son of Orion Moonbird, and a later king was named Exuthus Sparrow. Hyginus reports that Terrace became a hawk, a royal bird of Egypt, Thrace, and northwestern Europe.